This was a movie, maybe then she would be willing to share my world. And starting to realize sometimes the nice guys don't always get the girls.
Cause no one ever tells you when you're young. Life's not
Probably one of the more stranger choices out of my list. A bunch of genres got together and just threw up a bunch of different things and they made a movie out of it. Or how about the one song the girl sing? She's like talking about getting a present from Santa and how happy she's to unwrap it, but it's all very sexual and very innuendo filled. And whole audience as they're watching it, and then the principal, Mr. Savage, filth. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mr. Teach Film Preach, and today we are going to continue our countdown of the 12 days of Christmas watch films. We just finished our 2 honorable mentions, and now we're actually starting the list, the top 12 best Christmas movies of all time. And today we are starting with number 12, which is Anna and the Apocalypse. Anna and the Apocalypse is a crazy movie with a bunch of strange and random genres all mixed into one. It is a Christmas movie. It is a comedy movie. It is a little bit of an action film. It's a zombie film, teenager high school movie, and it's also a Christmas musical. They took all these genres and they decided to blend them at Christmas time and to create this like holiday zombie comedy musical flick. It works. It's strange how it works. It's very weird and it's a total blast. It's such a great combination of all these different genres and kind of mixes it in a bowl and spits out this movie, and it is awesome. And I was shocked when I saw it. I remember it came out about 3 years ago, I think in 2017. I was quite surprised at how much I enjoyed it and how much I liked it. Now, I come from a theater background, musical theater. I come from Shakespeare, from plays. That's where actually I got my start when I was a young kid. So I've been performing in musicals my whole life. So I like musicals. That's not a secret to the people who know me. I don't just watch any sort of musical out there. Some people love, every kind of musical as long as it's just got music and singing in it. That's just not me. It has to be well done. It has to push the story forward. And it also has to be smart. Musicals are very pandering and they meander off the course of the plot line, and sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Now, musicals themselves just don't make sense, but in the context of musicals, and sometimes they can just be very strange for the sake of being strange. When they adapt a musical from stage to screen, it doesn't translate because it doesn't work on screen. It's meant for the theater. And vice versa. Sometimes they just don't quite work. They don't transfer very well. This is a musical I could see doing very well on stage. And they use Christmas as a backdrop to tell these stories because of the lights and the decorations. And it looks really great. Having love and joy and experiencing celebration of Christmas and happiness. But oftentimes these filmmakers will juxtapose that with another horrible event or something crazy that's happening. Like this, a zombie apocalypse film. A lot of times it doesn't work. And sometimes when it does, it works great. Look at like Gremlins, Better Watch Out, or even the most recent one I watched, Fat Man. Anna and the Apocalypse is about a small town in Scotland. They are experiencing the outbreak of a zombie apocalypse, and Anna and her friends must get to the school where her father and some of their other loved ones are trapped and trying to get to them safely. That's pretty much all the film is. In the meantime, it's a film about growing up. It's a little bit of a coming age story. It's got some actual drama between the father and the daughter Anna, and about her going off and going traveling instead of going to university. And so there's a really coming of age story that happens throughout this whole film. Let's first talk about the music, because to me, that's what makes the musical, obviously. Obviously, the music has to be great for a musical to really stand out. The music's pretty good in this show. For a low-budget film, independent-looking movie, and really it is like Shaun of the Dead mixes with La La Land. And that's a pretty accurate description, both in the themes and also the feel of the film as well. Music is great. There's about 3/4 of this musical that the songs are awesome. They really work. They're either really funny and ridiculous. I'm a penguin mother flipper and I eat some fish. or they are very fun and uplifting and pop-like. No such thing as a Hollywood ending. And or they're extremely emotional and tragic, and we're actually getting a sense of tragedy and real drama.
That someday we'll talk in that old-fashioned way.
And I like that about this film, is that it takes risks. It doesn't play it safe. Now, that being said, the music is fantastic. The singers are great. I have this whole soundtrack. I bought it the second day after I watched this film. One of those soundtracks that you can have on repeat, you can listen to over and over again. Now, not every song in this musical knocks it out of the park. There is a couple that really lag. Some of those musical numbers kind of pull the film down a little bit and really put it to a stop. A couple of these songs, it's just Anna looking around and her singing, and I just wish there was something more there. The last 20, 25 minutes, a couple of those songs really actually don't work for this show. The rest of the songs in this musical are fantastic. The choreography is good. And one thing that I thought about this film that was maybe a little weak, but also kind of charming, was the choreography having some faults in it. If you look very closely at some of the big numbers, No Such Thing as a Hollywood Ending is a great example where the choreography is good, but there's some mistakes being made and they don't edit them out or they don't try and correct them. And it kind of makes it look like a little bit of a rougher film. And that works for this movie. Sometimes if you look at films like La La Land, like Chicago, everything is fancy and crisp and clean. Dance moves are very precise. This isn't one of those musicals. They don't try and look so polished and beautiful. It's quite rough in some ways. But that's okay. If you can get over that, you'll still enjoy the musical numbers in this show. One thing I love that this musical didn't do either was that they didn't just do all Christmas songs. We don't want just Jingle Bells or a version of that. And you know, we just don't want the same Christmas stuff over and over again. And the composers chose not to go in that direction, and I applaud them for that. Thank you. This movie is really funny. There's really some great laugh out loud moments. Like, I love at the beginning where John and Anna run into the first zombie they see, and he's in this like Frosty the Snowman outfit, and she takes the seesaw and hits it down and it cuts his head off, and John, really great reaction, really great funny moment. The performances are wonderful, actually. I think Ella Hunt does a good job of Anna. She's got a great voice. She plays the angst teen very well. And there's a lot of heart in her character, and she plays that well. Something about her performance, though, I will say, I noticed a bunch of times in certain scenes, she's trying the hardest not to laugh. There's certain times where moments that are very serious, and you could see her mouth, like, she goes, but it looks like she's trying not to laugh. It was distracting a few times in this movie. The supporting cast is great. There's not really a weak person per se in their performance. I really like the guy who plays Mr. Savage, the principal. He kind of reminds me of the Duke from Moulin Rouge. It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. He's this crazy lunatic vice principal that's hell-bent on power, and he's just got a hunger and thirst for power and just trying to control everyone. The actual brutal antagonist in this film, you know, sacrificing people, letting in zombies, you know, almost killing Anna's dad. He's not much of a singer, this actor, but that's okay for this part.
Miss Shepherd, you're so wrong, you don't have a clue. A purge on this species is long overdue.
You don't need to be an amazing singer always. To do a musical, you need the confidence, a little bit of singing chops, and you just need to be able to play a character. And that's what this actor does, and that's why he's one of the best parts of this movie. Guys, Justin Bieber is a zombie. The different celebrities and where, you know, they are, if they would last through the apocalypse. Robert Downey Jr. has like $1 billion. I think he's going to be okay. What about Ryan Gosling? Dead or alive, doesn't matter. He's cool no matter what. How about Taylor Swift? Jesus, Chris. Why would you even say that? Tay-Tay's fine. Tay-Tay's fine. This film has great foreshadowing throughout this whole movie. Like at the beginning when John says, sometimes the nice guys don't always get the girls, and John doesn't get Anna in the end. He's got this crush on Anna, and he doesn't get to be with her in the end. the writing. It's very well written, and they go for that in this movie. I talk about this all the time. They took risks. They actually have real weight to their characters. Or how about that a lot of our characters do actually die and are taken out in a very brutal and horrific way. This isn't Hollywood. And this film is trying to make that point. You know, I don't think they're really trying to play it safe here. And they make that clear from the very beginning. Even with their songs, they really have a lot of foreshadowing with no such thing as a Hollywood ending. That's the whole theme of this movie. And they warn us as the audience about it, but it still hurts as you take it in. We love these characters. They're such rootable characters. And that's great writing and great performances coming together. They actually really take a quite a tragic route in the end, which is true. That's what it would probably really be like. This film is a fantasy, but at the same time, it's trying to keep our expectations as audiences in check. Pretty much every character in this movie doesn't get what they want. And I talk about this a lot when I direct plays or work with actors. I talk about what they want. Every moment, every scene, there is a character that wants something. And none of them get what they want in this movie. I love it. It's great. The visual effects in this movie are pretty good considering it's a low budget film. There's some wonderful shots in this movie, like where she's dancing to the song Brand New Day, and she's dancing down the street. She's got her earphones in, but behind her there's all these people running away from zombies, explosions, people falling off of roofs, people getting eaten alive, cars on fire and stuff. And it's so great. It's obviously not as good as Shaun of the Dead, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to put it on the same level as that movie, but it does a great job of taking the essence or the feel of Shaun of the Dead and turning it into a musical. It's a basic movie that there's only a couple of big set pieces, and you can see where the budget was limited for the dancing, for the musical numbers, for the grandioso, because it does feel very small town. And that's okay. I'm not downing this movie for that, but it's maybe just a little bit of a drawback when you're watching it as an overall experience. The budget shows. And sometimes it's really great, intimate story, a really condensed story. We're really just confined to these characters and in this tiny little town. Really like 3 or 4 locations, from like the bowling alley to the school and maybe a couple of places in the street. And that's about it. Really, this film has only got a couple locations and they utilize them well. Something that I don't necessarily love about this film is the pacing. There's some pacing issues, and after seeing this movie about 5 or 6 different times now, I still can't pinpoint if it's the editing or if it's just the actual writing of the script story, the arc, and how everything ends. Because the last 25 minutes, even though it's only an hour and a half film, kind of drag. A couple of the songs didn't need to be as long as they were, especially that end song where her and Nick are standing like back to back and she's looking at all zombies. It takes way too long to get through that musical number. And musical numbers shouldn't feel like you need to get through them. They shouldn't feel like they enhance the story. So that was a little bit of a downer, was that it didn't feel like it enhanced anything too much. It opens it up for a sequel, but I really hope they don't ever do one. This is perfect as a one-time film, and it's beautiful that way. I've watched it since 2017, every single year at Christmas. I even watch it when it's not at Christmas time. That's how great this movie is. You guys will have a great time. Go check it out. It's lots of fun. You'll laugh. It's quite gory. If you're a horror person, you'll enjoy it. If you're a musical person, you'll love it. And if you just want like a really great adventure Christmas romp that you don't have to really think too much about, I definitely would check out Anna the Apocalypse. So I'm going to have to go ahead and give Anna the Apocalypse a B+. This film is great. Go check it out, guys, and I hope you have a great time. I love it. Come back and check out more of the 12 Days of Christmas Watch films. I'll be releasing another movie every day right up until Christmas Day. Have a great one, everyone. Merry Christmas. And as always, let's get taught.